The Abbott World Marathon Majors are the most renowned races on the running calendar. Runners across the globe make their pilgrimage to the amazing 6 host cities. They're all searching for epic race experiences as well as joining that elite club of finishing all 6. But what are the best ways for you to join them and enter all 6 marathon majors? Assuming you're not an elite runner, we've got you covered here on the best ways to enter these iconic races. There's also a bonus tip on how you can enter these races, and you do not want to miss it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. There's lots of content on there, including my first-hand knowledge on some of these very races. Whether you're trying to tick off your last major or dreaming of running your first, I've got you covered right here. So let's go. First up is the Tokyo Marathon. It's run in early March, and not only is it the first marathon major on the calendar, it's actually also one of the hardest to get into. The first Tokyo Marathon was held in 2007. Through its theme of The Day We Unite, the Tokyo Marathon has gathered together runners, volunteers and spectators every year since. And here's how you can enter the Tokyo Marathon. The total field is about 37,500 runners. There is a ballot entry. There is a ballot or lottery entry, but it's super competitive with well over 350,000 people trying to get in via this method. It also costs about $160 if you're one of the lucky international runners. That leaves your ballot odds at probably about less than 1 in 10 chance. However, there is also charity places. There's about 5,000 charity runners, but as previously mentioned, it's really competitive. There are tour operators, lots of international agencies, including Sports Tours International and also KNT Tours. So I think your best chance to get into the Tokyo Marathon for overseas runners, probably go via a tour operator. Next up on the running calendar is Boston. It was inspired by the 1896 Olympics, and it was founded a year later in 1897, which now makes it the oldest annual marathon in the whole world. It takes place on the 3rd Monday of every April, and much of the course remains exactly the same as it was originally designed more than over 100 years ago. It's known for its challenging course, Heartbreak Hill and strict qualifying standards. And here's how you can qualify. So the number of runners on this field is about 30,000. There is no ballot entry or lottery system. The majority of runners get in via qualifying time. These times tend to vary from year to year and can be found on the Boston Marathon website. Entry costs approximately $230. Alternatively, there are many charity places. There's lots of official charity partners on their website. Usually the minimum requirement is a pretty chunky $5,000, which is quite a lot to raise. Similarly to Tokyo, there are tour operators located all across the globe, but your best chance of getting in is grabbing one of those qualifying times, unless you're confident in raising big chunky charity funds. The London Marathon is up next, and it is known for its amazing atmosphere and spectacular landmarks all across the route. If you haven't seen my tips and do's and don'ts videos on the London Marathon, go ahead and check them out on the channel after you've watched this video. And while you're there, hit that subscribe button just so you don't miss any of my other videos coming up. London is run quite soon after Boston in late April. The race is viewed in more than 196 countries across the world, and in 2016 the London Marathon's 1 millionth runner crossed that finish line. I was in that field that year, but unfortunately it wasn't me. And here is how you can get your place on London's start line. The field size in London is about 48,000 runners. The ballot and lottery system is heavily oversubscribed. Recently we had 550,000 people apply last year for just under 20,000 places. And if you're one of the lucky ones, it's going to cost you about £70 for British runners and double that, about £140 for your overseas runners. There's also an option to enter a second ballot if you forego your entry fee. You do, however, get some nice merchandise if you are unsuccessful, so all is not lost. That leaves your ballot odds around about 1 in 26, 1 in 27, which gives you about 2.5% to 4% success rate. There are many charity partners with the London Marathon, and in fact the majority of runners do enter via this route. However, the minimum fundraising commitment is often anywhere between £2,000 and £3,000. There are good for age time slots available for about 3,000 men and 3,000 women, but you have to be in the UK to qualify for a fastest time based on your age and gender. Tour operators is a great way for overseas runners to access the London Marathon. So your best chances to get in, well, I've got in via the secondary ballot and charity methods in the past, but I'd probably say your best for age qualifier if you're in the UK or a charity place is the way forward. Kicking off the summer series of marathon majors is the iconic Berlin Marathon, known for its world record potential because of its flat and fast course. Berlin is the first of 3 majors that are run in the second half of the year. Keep an eye on the channel because we've got some tips and do's and don'ts around the Berlin Marathon coming up soon. Finishing near the Brandenburg Gate and being boosted by an energetic crowd, it is a fantastic race. But here are the entry stats for Berlin. So the field size in Berlin is around about 48,000 runners. There is a fairly generous allocation via the ballot and lottery methods to get into the Berlin Marathon, and successful entries will cost you about €200. Your ballot odds are around about 40 to 50% chance of getting in, and that's very healthy due to the large field size at Berlin. There are time qualifiers, yes, but you have to be pretty fast. For example, men aged under 44 need to run a 2:45 and women about a 3:10. More details are on the website. Entry in this way again is about €200. There are charity partners for the Berlin Marathon and fundraising commitments vary, but they can come from a minimum of about £1,250. There are many tour operators that offer that guaranteed entry, so do check them out. That is a good way to get into this marathon. Your best chance to get in, I'd probably say, is the ballot, and that was the way that I got in 2019. I was very lucky. It's probably the best way due to the proportion of ballot entries, but also tour operator is another safe bet if you don't fancy your chances. Next is the Windy City, the Chicago Marathon. It's one of my personal favourites. It's got a fairly flat course and it's also a really good one to chase that personal best. Chicago's run in October and it is supported by about 1.7 million spectators lining the streets. Runners work their way through 29 different neighbourhoods of Chicago and it starts and finishes in Grant Park in downtown. And here is how you can experience this amazing city and the Chicago Marathon. The field size in Chicago is about 48,000. There is a ballot and lottery entry, but non-guaranteed lottery is open for runners. Around about 120,000 runners apply each year and it will set you back about $240 if you're able to get in. But trust me, it is well worth it. Your ballot entry is about 40 to 50% chances to get in, so similar to Berlin, and yes, this was also the way that I got into this one. I'm starting to think I probably should start to do the national lottery. Running a quick qualifying time is another route in. It's a little bit more forgiving than other majors, but you still have to be pretty swift. There are many charity places and there's plenty of options, lots of partners, but the minimum commitments start at around $1,500. There are other ways to access the Chicago Marathon, such as being a legacy finisher, for instance if you've completed 5 or more in the past 10 years. Tour operators such as Sport Tours International do offer really competitive packages for Chicago Marathon. But I would say your best chance to get in is probably via the lottery or via a time qualifier. And finally, wrapping up the year, we've got the New York Marathon. New York, New York. Held in November, this caps off the marathon major calendar. This is the largest marathon in the world with over 50,000 runners, and it works its way through all 5 New York boroughs. It starts off over on Staten Island and it snakes its way all the way through to its iconic finish in Central Park. The race expanded to all 5 boroughs in 1976 and celebrated its 50th anniversary in 2021. And here's how you can line up at the start line for the New York Marathon and be in that number. So as previously mentioned, there's over 50,000 runners of this race. There is a lottery system, yes, and there's separate allocations separated by New York residents, then US residents, and also an overseas ballot. Your bib number is going to cost about $300. It's also a really slim chance of getting in via the ballot. Similarly to London, it's about 2 to 4% chance because it's really heavily subscribed. I've been trying for 7 years on the bounce. I know I'm not the only one, but no joy yet. There are time qualifying bibs, however, they are very competitive. You'll probably have more of a chance if you run a qualifying time in one of the many New York Roadrunners races. Charity places, like all the others, is an option for you. They generally range from $3,000 to $5,000 minimum requirement, and there's a comprehensive list of their charity partners on their website. There are many tour operators that provide packages for those guaranteed race places. Another way to get in is if you run the New York City Marathon 15 times, then you're guaranteed entry in future years. But that is quite special. So your best chances to get in if you're a US runner, I'd probably say the lottery or running a fast time. But if you're overseas, probably a tour operator. So there we have it. There are well-trodden paths to access all of the marathon majors, but there is a new extra method available to runners. In a drive to boost their 6-star finishers, if you've already completed 3 or more of the majors, then Abbott World Marathon Majors has their own extra ballot places for runners to get into these races. You need to have an account on their website and also update your profile with your confirmed finishes, and then they'll email you all the information that you need in how to apply for these extra ballots that they do. This will help you achieve your remaining majors and join that 6-star club. The Abbott World Marathon Majors are the most prestigious marathons in the whole world. Completing all 6 is an incredible achievement. Not only will you earn that coveted 6-star finishers medal, but you'll also enter their exclusive Hall of Fame. Now, if you're like me and on that journey towards 6, or you've completed them already, you'll know that it takes a lot of planning, dedication, and a lot of money. So whether you're praying for a lottery entry, gunning for a qualifying time, deciding on a charity spot, or investing in a tour operator entry, keep pushing towards that goal. And remember, every star brings you that little bit closer to that illustrious 6-star finisher medal. There are over 8,000 members of that club, and it is growing. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have you run in any of the 6 majors? If you have, let me know how it went. Not done any yet? Which ones do you want to do first? Let me know your comments in the box below. If you found this guide helpful, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and hit that all-important notification bell. That way you'll be able to see all of my future running videos, and some of them include these very races. And until next time, happy running.